Dear Phil, eat vegetables. Big like me. Guards, 4-year-old. Dear 4-year-old, as Dr. Sky, guard 5-year-old. Hulk smash! Dear 5-year-old, new kids don't bite. Love 6-year-old.
Dear 6-year-old, don't be afraid of going to a new school. People will be nicer than you think. Sign a 7-year-old.
Dear 6-year-old, don't be scared of the dark. Signed by 7-year-old. Dear 6-year-old, don't pull your socks down because you'll get sick. From 7-year-old.
Dear 7-year-old, don't be a bully ever. Signed an 8-year-old.
Dear 7-year-old, don't go to the bathroom without closing the door. Signed an 8-year-old.
Be more responsible because you could finish your assignments faster. Regards, a 9-year-old.
Dear 8-year-old, if you're jumping off a diving board and you're afraid, stop thinking and just do it.
Dear 10-year-old, don't ignore your great-grandparents, because soon they won't be around. Love, 11-year-old.
Dear 10-year-old, don't worry about wearing makeup to look better. You're beautiful and amazing without it. Trust me. Signed, an 11-year-old.
Dear 10-year-old, don't throw your Ferrari t-shirt out. It still fits you.
Dear 11-year-old, life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. Regards, 12-year-old.
Dear 12-year-old, don't be afraid to raise your hand in class. You would have been right. Signed, a 13-year-old.
Dear 13-year-old, play with your Lego, and boys aren't super important, so don't make them the center of your world. Love, 14-year-old.
Dear 14-year-old, keep your notes from the year before and keep them organized. From a 15-year-old.
Dear 14-year-old, I know it's hard right now, but it does get easier. Signed, 15-year-old.
Dear 14-year-old, don't care what other people think about you. Just do you. From a 15-year-old.
Dear 16-year-old, you don't have to be the absolute best to make your parents proud. You just need to try your absolute best. Signed, a 17-year-old.
Dear 16-year-old, play your heart out on the court. Love, an 18-year-old.
Dear 16-year-old self, respect your elders and get involved as much as you can. Service is the greatest respect you can show your community. Regards, a 17-year-old.
Dear 16-year-old, just breathe. Signed, 17-year-old.
Dear 17-year-old, sleep more. Signed, a tired 18-year-old.
Dear 17-year-old, just push through it. Signed, an 18-year-old. Dear younger selves, start getting along with your siblings. Signed, experienced brothers.
Dear 19 years old, learn to forgive yourself, as well practice to say no. I know it's hard. Signed, 20 years old.
Dear 20-year-old, if you know how to code, you'll know what 1 and 0 spell. Signed, 21-year-old.
Dear younger self, it's okay to be a nerd. Nerds are passionate about their interests. We are all nerds in our own right. It's okay to be passionate about topics that interest you. Signed, 28-year-old self.
Dear 31-year-old, value relationships. Getting rich is overrated anyway. Regards, a 32-year-old.
Dear 39-year-old, slow down a bit and work a little less. Travel a bit more. Signed, 40-year-old.
Dear 40-year-old, don't sweat the small things in life. Signed, 41-year-old.
Dear 41-year-old, don't spend money on brand name stuff. Instead, help others with that money. Signed, 42 years old.
Dear 27-year-old, make sure you take time away from the busyness of your life and spend time with family and friends.
Dear younger self, you are so loved. Keep a smile on your face, keep your dreams big, and keep moving forward no matter what. Signed, a 45-year-old.
Hey, 47-year-old, turn your phone off when you go on a trip. Signed, a 49-year-old, and I mean it.
Dear 50-year-old, always have the courage to display empathy, as one day you will need the courage to ask for it.
Dear 54-year-old, remember to be your own best friend and take care of you. From 55-year-old.
Dear 45-year-old, make time to do the things you enjoy doing. Work less and play harder.
Dear 58-year-old, take the time to enjoy what you've worked really hard for. Take it from a 60-year-old.
Dear 59-year-old, fill your day with hope. Love,
60-year-old.
Dear younger self, don't be afraid to make mistakes or to fail. They're the stepping stones to success. Signed, a 60-year-old.
Dear 61-year-old, it's just about time for you to retire. Why worry about it? Your life is not invested in your work. Just make the decision and go for it. It's going to be so much fun. Signed, a 62-year-old.
Dear 13-year-old, sometimes it's the little acts of courage every day that encourages not only ourselves, but other people. You can do it from a 68-year-old.
Dear 73-year-old, indulge your sweet tooth. You'll need dentures anyway. Signed by a 74-year-old who still has all his teeth.
Dear 89-year-old, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today, including thanking your family and friends. They love you and care for you. Signed, a 90-year-old.
Don't bother listening to other people's advice. They don't know what they're talking about.